With all due respect, that's a bunch of malarkey. This is a bunch of stuff, deal.
What does that mean, a bunch of stuff?
Well, it means it's simply inaccurate.
It's Irish.
Exactly, it is. We Irish call it malarkey.
Thanks for the translation.
No, we Irish call it malarkey.
You know what this is? Yeah, and I reserve this word for those rare instances when it's truly deserved. This is malarkey.
That's a bunch of malarkey.
From the King Spring Studios here in Smyrna, Georgia, this is A Bunch of Malarkey. I'm your host, Charlie McMahon. Thank you so much for joining us for this, I guess you could say, Christmas holiday edition of the show. And guess who's back? Back again. Shady's back. I mean, Jen's back. Tell a friend. Welcome back, Jen.
I'm not here for the Christmas special. I'm here for the Kwanzaa special.
Okay. Everybody's been asking, where is Jen? I mean, they loved Corey and Jenny. Don't get me wrong. You guys did a fabulous job. And Johnny B., we haven't forgotten about you. But people keep asking, where is Jen? And I just can't figure it out.
You're not the only one. As I said, my husband is very shocked that people like to hear me talk.
So where do you stand now? We're 3 weeks to the day away from Christmas. Where do you stand as far as your shopping and decorating and all that? Have you gotten anything done over the weekend?
Well, we decorated right after Thanksgiving.
Right, okay.
We're going away for a couple weeks, so all of the Christmas gifts are coming from abroad. So I
Nice.
have done zero Christmas shopping.
Can't beat that.
Not
We're
for
done.
mine.
We are wrapped. We're done. The only thing, we did most of it online, but we had to go to a couple of stores. And I made the mistake of going to Target on a Saturday afternoon this past week. And I thought people would be watching this Alabama-Georgia game. I pulled into Target. You would think that they were like, Oprah was going, you got a car, you got a car. It was crazy there. But the thing about Target, no matter how packed the parking lot is, when you go in, you're like, where is everybody? It's like people seem to disappear when they enter the doors.
Target is the Twilight Zone.
Am I right about that?
It sucks you in, and you go in for some like sugar or something, and
Right.
you end up with $500 worth of stuff.
So, but I expected long lines, but I didn't see people walking around Target. I'm like, where are the people? All these cars, where are they?
Were they in Starbucks?
No, there was no.
Were
There
they
was
all
a
crammed into the
there was a
Starbucks?
Panera over there. Maybe they were being mutants at that soda machine, like they did to me that time, and putting their filthy cups against.
Maybe that's what it was.
So that was my weekend. We put the tree up a couple of weeks ago too. But these leaves, I've been complaining about them for a couple of weeks now. I finally am leaf free in the front yard. But you have neighbors that don't rake. I'm looking across the street, a couple of houses, and these people never come out and rake. So every time there's a westerly wind, my shit gets filled up again.
Well, you're going to have to explain that to me, because growing up in Central Florida, we didn't really have a big leaf fall. So why do you need to rake? If nobody rakes, then it's not a problem.
Well,
right?
because, it just dies and it's on your lawn and it looks like crap.
But does it look worse than the dead grass that's underneath?
Yeah, because like you're having Christmas decorations and trying to be festive, and then you have like leaves around it. It's like if you woke up from a coma, you wouldn't know what the hell time of year it is.
I happen to like the look of the leaves all over the ground, so I'd be your neighbor that never raked.
I like it in the fall. When the actual fall, but now we're in the Christmas season. I don't want to see leaves. Maybe I have the problem.
Yeah.
You think so?
That's the problem of being a Yankee and moving down to the South. This is still very much fall here.
Well, this has been going on. My grandfather used to fight with people that didn't. He had the same problem. He would be immaculate. He'd be out there every day cleaning leaves, and the neighbors, and he'd be yelling at them, and it would be a whole forget about it. And then I said I'd never get like that. I mean, I'm not out there yelling, but I might throw a dirty look.
I need to come and set up a lawn chair and watch you with your leaf raking.
So the leaves are under control until we get a nice westerly wind. So we hope that doesn't happen. We hope the winds come out of the east for the next couple of weeks.
Well, I'm looking out the window right now. You still got trees with a lot of dead leaves on them out there.
Not on my property.
I think you're in for another dose.
So, folks, Christmas is decorated. Jen's all ready to go on her vacation. And where are you headed, can I ask?
Yeah, we're going to Costa Rica.
Don't stay at any Airbnbs.
No, we will not be staying at Airbnbs.
In case you haven't heard about that young lady who was found. Yeah, it's a shame.
we will be inside gated hotel communities.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. So Costa Rica and
and then we'll be in Las Vegas for New Year's.
Listen to this, folks. This is the way to live.
You truly discover the key to happiness during the holiday season when you realize that means not being around your family.
Well,
Flee. That's what we do.
it depends on what
flee.
family. It depends on what family.
Yeah, well, see, then in our house, it's let's just keep them all away.
Right. Well, we like the buffer zone. I mean, I love my in-laws. Jen obviously loves her parents and brother. We like having them around. But everybody else, and my brother and his husband, if they wanted to come visit, my sister, but everybody else pretty much, it's too much drama.
But even the ones you like.
Yeah.
After you spend all that time together and
What's your cutoff for like people staying at your house? Like 4 days?
well, we live in a little tiny house, so I mean we have a 2-bedroom condo, so everybody has.
Well, even
to
if you
stay
had
somewhere else.
even if you had like 5 extra rooms, when do you start getting sick of people?
Well, if it's my mother, it takes all. I think I hit a record last time, and it was at 22 minutes. I think I was in her house.
Tis
before
the
us.
season to.
That's why we leave.
All right.
Goodbye.
Well, that's a good strategy. We'll be around. We're going to be around, folks.
I know. I'm kind of sad though that we're gonna miss the holiday potluck. I think
We're going to have
a lot of fun.
Well, we were looking at the weather. They were saying there was a chance of like winter storm here on Saturday, but now they're saying it's going to go north of here.
Oh,
But it would have
been.
been-
You could make snowmen.
Yeah, it would have been the exact same day we had that big snowstorm last year on December 8th.
That's
Something
right.
about
My
December
friend,
8th.
Yeah, my friend Bonnie's birthday is on the 9th, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, it snowed last year
Yeah.
on my birthday."
So, folks, it is time for your favorite segment of the show, and you know what that is.
Mutant of the Week.
And it wasn't a big surprise last week. The trespassing tourist, the guy who got killed by all those arrows from those natives, won in a 90-10 victory over the Malay moms, those moms who beat the crap out of each other and slashed each other at the bus stop with the coffee mugs.
I didn't hear about that.
Shame on you for not listening last week. So 90-10 landslide. Now, I know I say this a lot, but this week, folks, and I mean it, probably the funniest two we've ever done. I have to say, I don't know who's going to win this. This is going to be a bloody battle, and Jen, who doesn't know either one, is going to read our first one. I love her reaction when she doesn't know what it's going to be. There's our first mutant nominee.
Especially when I start reading ahead, and then I can't even get the first words out.
Yep.
Of course, you give me this one, and this is funny because I can understand this lady. Passing gas in public is often embarrassing, but for a Dania Beach woman, doing so while waiting in line at a Dollar General store led to her arrest on a charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon without the intent to kill. It's what police say she did after a man in line complained about the act that led to the charge.
Oh, no.
According to a Broward Sheriff's Office complaint affidavit, Shanetta Yvette Wilson, 37, was in the checkout line at the Dollar General store on 120 South Federal Highway in Dania Beach on Sunday evening. John Walker, the customer standing next to her, got into a verbal dispute in reference to the defendant farting loudly. Wilson allegedly pulled a small lock-back knife from her purse, opened the knife, and told the victim she was going to gut him, the police report said. While doing so, she pulled back her right hand with the knife as if she was going to attack the victim with it. Walker was in fear that he was going to be stabbed by the defendant.
Oh, my God.
After police were called, Wilson was found by deputies and identified by Walker. She was arrested and taken to the, I thought I was going to say Reindeer, to the Paul Rain Detention Facility in Pompano Beach. Her bail was set at $2,500. $2,500 for a fart?
Well, she took the knife out. It wasn't the act of the fart. She called out for her gas, and she didn't take kindly to it and went on the attack.
I mean, I guess this says something. Obviously, they didn't declare the fart silent, but deadly.
Right?
Or she would be charged with intent to
So
kill.
that's mutant number one. What do we call that one?
Wait, who's the mutant? The guy or the woman?
The woman who farted and then attacked. Who's the mutant?
When farters attack.
When farters attack. Yeah. So that is our first nominee, the farter in line. We'll come up with the name for our second one. Now, folks, as you know, some of you know, I was a DJ for years at events. Weddings were my big business. I did that for a long time. And now this involves a wedding photographer. I've seen some crazy shit at weddings, but this is something you may never see again. And this comes out of Dallas. Finally, no Georgia or Florida. A wedding photographer in the Dallas area probably can't count on a recommendation from her last client. Last Saturday, she allegedly had sex with one of the guests at the wedding venue. Investigators say Catherine Mehta, 26, was told to leave the party after she became intoxicated. Officers said at one point Mehta started yelling near a water fountain before dropping her pants and urinating on a tree. Mehta also allegedly threatened to kill all the officers who drove her to jail. Y'all families will be dead by Christmas, Mehta allegedly told the officers. Officers who searched Mehta said they found a prescription bottle in her purse, and it was a prescription used to commonly treat anxiety and panic disorder. She's charged with public intoxication and obstruction. So we'll call her the vile vendor or the pissing photographer, one or the other.
I need some more information on this sleeping with a guest. Who did she sleep with?
Hopefully it wasn't the groom.
That would now make for a good
Well, maybe
story.
it was the best man. She wanted to see if he really was the best man.
Well, isn't that what's supposed to happen at weddings? Aren't all the single people supposed to hook up?
All the single ladies. So, I mean, I've seen some crazy shit people at weddings. And as I said on a previous episode with Jen, I was able to spot who the asshole was going to be before the ceremony even started. When they start walking in, I was like, there's an asshole. That guy's going to be drunk and smash something. I was able to tell. I was like Miss Cleo looking into that crystal ball.
Do you think you would have picked out the PP photographer?
I don't know, because usually the vendors are very professional. So I don't know if I would have, unless there was something outlandish right from the get-go, I probably wouldn't have spotted her because my eyes would be on the guests.
Okay. I wish somebody would have peed at my wedding.
What, to spice things up a bit?
Yeah, that would have been something.
So before we go on to our main topic of the day, there's one more story I have to read, and I think you'll appreciate this as a mom, Jen. I don't know if you heard about this story out of a Texas mom is complaining that a Southwest Airlines employee mocked her 5-year-old daughter's name, which is ABCDE, pronounced abcde. They were flying from Santa Ana, California to El Paso, Texas a few weeks ago when a gate agent began mocking the little girl's name. The gate agent started laughing, pointing at me and my daughter talking to other employees. So I turned around and said, hey, if I can hear you, my daughter can hear you, so I'd appreciate if you just stop. So she filed a claim with Southwest and filed a complaint with them, and they apologized yesterday. Now, you had 9 months to come up with a name, folks, and that's the best you can do?
I mean, seriously, I just don't.
Like, I could see, like, what do you think is going to happen when this little girl goes to school?
It's just.
If she's getting mocked at the airport.
I mean, the best thing about that story was she posts her complaint, and then the comments are just ripping her a new one.
Right.
Like, what do you expect,
I
lady?
got like 500 likes on a comment I made on a post on Facebook. I said her brother da fuck DAFUQ was also insulted at the gate. I mean, come on.
It's just dumb. Like, there was one that was like, I named my daughter 1 2 3 4 5. It's pronounced 1 2 3 4 5.
I mean, come on. Imagine when, like, you know, when you get the first day of school, they're going to think it's like a typo on the.
Exactly. Nobody's ever going to pronounce it right.
9 months,
it's
folks.
Just ridiculous.
9 months plus the planning. If you planned a little bit before you got pregnant, how many months to think about this?
Well, and I thought Jeff and I were nuts because when we would go through these names and we would immediately start, well, what could the kids call her with this name? What rhymes with this name? We would go back and forth, like trying to work out all the worst possible nicknames.
Right. Well, you never got called. Your name, you probably. What'd you get called?
Well, my middle name is Leilani.
Layla.
No, I got called Lay On Me.
Lay on me.
Yeah, so of course my mother thought everybody would be writing in my yearbook like "lay on me."
I'm thinking you're laying around.
Yeah, she thought I was the school.
Lay
hooker.
down, Sally.
Yeah. She.
I
thought
got
that
called
was
Charlie, Choo Choo Charlie from the Good and Plenty commercials.
Oh, I have no idea what.
Yeah,
that
they
is.
used to sing that. Choo Choo Charlie was his name. It was a commercial even before our time, but I don't know how the hell these people knew it. And what else did I get called? Really, just Charlie Barley and stupid
that's not
rhymes.
bad.
No,
That's
I did
not
all
bad.
right. I did all right considering. So at least my name wasn't ABCDE.
Yeah, so And it's funny because that has spawned another round of these articles about the blue laws out there about what you're allowed to name your kid and what you're not allowed to name your kid. And it's like, I don't know if you read about that couple in New Zealand that tried to name their kid Bus Stop Number 2 because that's where the child was conceived.
Oh, my God.
And the government would not allow them to name their child. But I think Bus Stop Number 2 is better than abcde.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'd rather be called Bus Stop Number 2.
Yeah, me too.
What are you going to do, folks? What are you going to do? This is the world we live in. Mm-hmm. And that segues to even more crazy shit out there. Like I always say at the end of the show, beware, it's a shit show out there. And now on television, if you hadn't noticed, folks, every time you turn on the TV or the radio now, there's a Christmas special playing on TV or a Christmas song on the radio. You can't avoid it. I love it. Some people don't like it. Some people like the shows but don't like the music, vice versa. But even daytime, now, we discussed this in our Guilty Pleasures a few weeks ago. I'm not a daytime TV watcher. I do put on Dr. Phil once in a while because I want to know. It makes me feel like no matter how fucked up you think your life is, folks, put on Dr. Phil for an hour, you'll walk away feeling like a fucking champ. So
he's lying. He watches it because he likes it. He enjoys it. It has nothing to do with making himself feel better about it.
Well, there's really some messed up people, and I enjoy it. So I was flipping yesterday around, I guess around 4 o'clock, because I was watching the coverage of George H.W. Bush's funeral. No, not his funeral, but they were having him in the Capitol Rotunda. And then they cut in with Ellen. Now, I never watched an Ellen DeGeneres show in my life, the talk show. But apparently she has this Ellen's 12 Days of Giveaways, where for the last 12 shows of the year, she gives away at the end of the show all these prizes to the audience members, just like Oprah used to do. And I'm telling you, you could give away shit on a cracker, and these women in the audience are hysterical. Like, you won 7 days and 6 nights in Aleppo, Syria. You'll enjoy the bombs falling around you. And these women are screaming. Because they gave a trip to, like, Scottsdale, Arizona for 3 days. You would think that they were sent to Paris or something. The way these women were screaming. And I don't want to body shame anybody, but they were giving away Fitbits, and this, like, 500-pound woman was jumping up and down like she's going to use the Fitbit.
Well, maybe she will. And we'll see her next year, and she'll be svelte and
yeah.
she can thank Ellen.
That's what I'm saying. You could give anything away, and people will scream, like, just because it's free.
Well, we've talked about that before, haven't we? About how you end up with all this stupid free crap in your house because you can't say no.
Well, you do.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
I'm not allowed. I get audited by my wife every 6 months.
I need to have her over to my house.
So, I was flipping. That's a daytime special. Nobody's really home for that, or they DVR Ellen for whatever reason. Not that I have anything against Ellen. I think she does a lot of good for charity and for people. But it's these nighttime cartoon specials now. Now, people have a lot of free time on their hands to sit around. We have this thing now. Well, first it was the war on Christmas on Fox News, where because you said happy holidays to people to cover Hanukkah, Christmas, New Year's, and whatever else, you were declaring a war on Christmas. It's like people get overly sensitive this time of year about holidays. It brings out the best and the worst in people. So you have to deal with this. And if you read my book, A Whole Lot of Shenanigans, there's at least 4 stories in there where I said happy holidays, and people called me out on it like I was doing something wrong. So whatever. So now people are sitting around after the whole war on Christmas and coming up with these elaborate theories and conspiracy theories about these cartoons and songs. Now, the first one is A Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, which aired a couple weeks ago. There's a scene there where they sit down to have their Thanksgiving dinner, which is like popcorn and jelly beans and the whole deal. Snoopy. So they're all sitting around the table, but the one African-American character, Franklin, is sitting on one side of the table, like segregated, and he's on a rickety-ass lawn chair. And right across from him is Snoopy, Charlie Brown, all the rest of them. They're all sitting on, like, dining room chairs that they brought in from the house. So people are saying now that this is segregation and racist. And now what they don't understand is that in 1968, Charles Schulz, the creator of Peanuts, brought Franklin in as a character to fight discrimination. Yeah. He was anti-discrimination, anti-racism. And I think he placed that. See, if you're not an artist, people, or a writer, artists and writers do things sometimes for the opposite reason that you think. They may have put him in there purposely isolated to show how ridiculous segregation is and how it was still happening at that time. It might have been a visual that he wanted people to see, to say, look how absurd this is.
I'm racking my brain. I've seen that show a million times.
Yeah, he's sitting on this
and I never noticed.
What's funny is that rickety-ass lawn chair actually collapses and he falls and they all laugh at him, like, because he's sitting on this cheap-ass chair while they're all dining in luxury across from him.
I'm going to have to look at that again.
Yeah, just Google the picture on when you get home, or just look at the special. But I don't think it's perfect. Now, to sit and have to analyze this. So who's sitting home and going, holy shit, and like stopping it and having a discussion? I mean, who's doing this? Just watch the fucking show. Have a good time. Drink some eggnog. Have a good time with your family. But I think if it is done, obviously the visual is there, but I think it was done to point it out because they were still living in that time.
Yeah. in all fairness, I gotta say, as people grow and change in their lives, they probably watch it and have a different perspective. Maybe it means they're a little bit more woke. Obviously, I am not, as I have not noticed that Franklin is.
Well, that's what people were saying on Twitter. Why is Franklin in Charlie Brown Thanksgiving sitting all by himself at the table? Man, this shit I did not notice as a child. All these tweets were coming out during the special.
Maybe Franklin's last name is Wilson, and he's from Dania Beach, and maybe he's a farter.
He has kids.
Maybe
people don't want to be him.
Jeanette Yvette Wilson is his aunt or his mother or something, and he is a farter.
So that was the controversy around Thanksgiving. So we figured, all right, that's over with. All these holiday specials now we're in the clear now. That's until Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was on last week on CBS. And now stations around the country are threatening to ban, and people are threatening to boycott because they say Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is bullied.
He is.
He is to a point, but let me tell you the theme I got out of the Rudolph, and then we'll hear yours. It's not so much about bullying. I think it's everything that happened in that show, happens in real life. If you're different, if you don't conform, you get made fun of. You get it happens. It's not. I don't think they're promoting it, and it's from 1964, so they weren't as sensitive to things as we are today.
They were thicker skinned back then.
But his own dad now criticized him for the nose, Donner. Now I remember being in Little League, and now it's different. Everybody cheers like, "Hit is a strikeout's just as good as a home run, Johnny." My dad would be, "Come on, you bitch! You're stepping out of the box." I took a day off work for this.
You suck.
yeah. I would get lambasted after a baseball game. My dad said, "You're like a wimp stepping out of the box." I'm using the nice word there. And we were like, my mom would play us in Monopoly, and then after she'd beat us, there was no letting the kids win. She would point in our faces and gloat and make fun of us for hours that we lost. Like there was no. And now, the coach in the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is like. A little hard on him, especially when he sees the nose. And who was that?
Oh, and his daughter is the one that
Clarice.
likes Rudolph.
Clarice.
Yeah, so he tells Clarice she has to stay away from him.
From a guy so they're comparing that to a father telling their daughter to stay away from like a black man or somebody of another race that he's bigoted. I didn't catch that quite. He's different.
Yeah.
So they're saying that. And they're also saying... well, what's your take on it? You think he was bullied?
No, I think he definitely was bullied. But if one thing we should all know is that bullying continues to be a way of life. You get picked on. I mean, you don't want to hear my whole biological perspective about how we judge other people because when we were cavemen, that's how we survived.
The strongest beat up on the weakest.
Yeah, you had to judge. Does this creature here look like it's going to eat me, or am I going to procreate with it?
Exactly.
You had to judge. So that's innate. We all judge each other. It's what you do with that judgment that makes a difference. But
it could also be a teaching lesson. If you're watching it with your daughter and she says, "Why are they picking on Rudolph?" You could turn that into a teaching lesson. And
I would think so.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, the worst part of that movie for me has always been that island of
misfit
unwanted.
Toys.
Yes. It breaks my heart every time when that little doll is like,
the little doll,
I just want somebody to love me.
Well, and the dentist, too, whether he wants to be a dentist and he's pretty much, First of all, Santa read
a fucking dork. Okay? Hermie is a dork. You heard it here. There.
Well, first of all, like the big message I got out of it, and it's true, folks, except for maybe your immediate family or the people you can really count on in your lives, people don't give a shit about you until they need something from you. And that's basically in life, except for if you have really close friends. If you're my age and you happen to have 2 or 3 very close friends that you've known either a long time or a short time that you can count on, you're ahead of the game, and a few close family members. Otherwise, people will use and abuse you until they need something from you. And then if I were Rudolph, I would have told Santa to go fuck himself. Mm-hmm. And when that storm came and they mocked him for that nose, and then they wanted him to help bail him out. I would have said, "Fuck you, pound sand, bitch.
You're on your own."
Yeah, so
Christmas is ruined, and it's all your bully ass fault.
That's the message I always got. Even as a teenager, I would say, "Man, they used his ass, and then when they needed him, they mocked him. And then when they needed him,
I'm going to tell you, I never thought twice about that bullying until I had a child." And then I thought, and I didn't say I'm not going to let her watch it, but in my head I thought, wow, they're really picking on him.
Yeah, well, that's the whole song. They picked on him. They didn't let him play in the games. And then when the foggy Christmas Eve came around, Santa said, "I need you."
Yeah,
And I
I
would've
mean,
said,
and you're right. It is a
"Piss
good
off."
lesson because I tell that to my child all the time. If she doesn't want to play with you and she's being mean, then go
Right,
do something
right.
else.
Yeah, so like maybe
You don't need her.
And what about? And they were also saying it was exploitation of workers, and here
What?
because of the
The
sweatshop.
elves or the elves or
well,
the
Santa and the
deer?
head elf like running a sweatshop in there, like it was like they're ready to call the union and shit.
That, I mean, think about it. He's got to be running a sweatshop. How do they crank out all those toys?
Oh, yeah, totally. OSHA never goes and inspects.
Yeah, there's a whip being cracked in there somewhere.
Yeah, so sexism, they say when Rudolph's mom wants to join Donna in the search, he said, no, this is man's work.
Yes.
So there's
I'll tell you,
sexism
that's
in there?
the one part that really hit me. The part when Santa comes in to meet Rudolph, and Santa says something horribly, like, misogynistic and stupid. And I
Yeah.
was like, that's so misogynistic
Yeah, they
and
made
stupid.
Santa-
But then it was like, oh, there's Bumble. You know, you
Yeah.
forget.
Santa was like a dick in that.
He's total dick.
But again, I'm still going to watch it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and cry about it and say, oh my God, Christmas is ruined.
Dicks are a way of life. You just have to
Yeah,
deal with
everywhere
them.
you go, folks, no matter what job you have, you're going to have a boss that's an asshole. If you're lucky enough to finally find a job, unless you work for yourself, that you interact well with your boss and he or she is cool, that's great. But 9 times out of 10, if they're just there to make money and get the most out of you and use you, it's everywhere in life. Everywhere in life. So I think it's a good lesson to teach kids.
Yeah, it really is.
So let's look on the bright side of it. It could be a very big learning lesson for the kids.
The biggest learning lesson is that Rudolph overcame his differences from everyone else and totally saved Christmas, so everybody still got presents. That's all my kid cares about.
Exactly.
Are they still getting the presents?
All the presents under the tree.
Correct.
All right, so now we have 2 cartoon specials that people been bitching about for the last weeks. Now the biggest controversy came out. There was some rumblings of it about 3 or 4 years ago, but it really hit home this weekend when a Cleveland radio station stopped playing a popular Christmas song that's been around since the 40s. WOIO reports. Star 102 in Cleveland the listeners raised concern that the lyrics of the song Baby It's Cold Outside with some of the words send the wrong message in the era of the Me Too movement. And we're going to break down the song and each share our perspective of it. The song, in case you don't know it, folks, if you've been under a fucking rock since the 40s, it's a duet between a man and a woman. The woman makes it clear she is worried about being with the man late into the night when he adamantly tells her to stay with him because it's cold outside. It was written in 1944, and it rose to popularity in the 1949 film Neptune's Daughter. It was sung between Esther Williams and Ricardo Montalban, which is a very cool video. If you see the video, folks, you'll see that he's not trying to date rape her. It's kind of very romantic, but I'll leave that up to you.
Oh my God! You say Montalban, and I see the Wrath of Khan, and I think, yeah, rapey, definitely rapey.
This song was written by popular Broadway composer Frank Lesser, who originally performed it as a humorous skit with his wife. But the lyrics in today's context have taken on somewhat of a more sinister connotation after the Me Too movement gained momentum last year. More women have been speaking out about sexual harassment and assault, and society has become more aware than ever of how widespread the problem really is. Now they're saying the suggestive lines in the song now drum up images of Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby. Come on now. We're going to talk about this. You know what? I could tell a story. I'm not going to get into much detail.
Oh, God, here we go.
This is a true story. There was a woman. She was the office manager. I worked for a large corporation. She was the office manager. Wasn't my manager, but she was a manager. I wasn't. I reported to a different female manager. And they were pretty close to 2 managers. And this one woman, office manager, you could say she was the female Harvey Weinstein as far as looks go and as far as appearance. And she was kind of...
Dumpy?
Yeah. So she come into my office, and a friend of mine that I'm close with still laughs about this, and we bring it up. She would come in my office and make sexual suggestions to me about things she wanted to perform on me.
What?
No, I'm being honest with you. And we'd all laugh because we didn't take her seriously. And then one day, we were all supposed to go out to lunch. Me, her, my friend, and a couple other people. For some reason, the other 3 people were scientists, and they got called to a meeting. So it was just me and her. And she says, do you still want to go to lunch? I said, yeah, I'll go. I was just being nice. Because I didn't think anything she said earlier was going to come to fruition. So we're driving. She had this big, like, Yukon SUV. We're coming back from lunch. She pulls over on the side of the road and asks me to drop my pants. Now, this woman was married with a child. She still posts on Facebook how much she loves her husband. They're still married. This woman pulled on the side of the road and kept telling me to drop my pants because she wanted to perform an act on me, which I'm not going to get graphic in. And I laughed it off a few times, and finally we just went back to the office. And then she made reference to it a few times after that at the office. And then it just finally fizzled out and she didn't bother me anymore. Now, this happens to men too. You know? It's not just a woman
rolling
thing.
my eyes. You can't see me.
So you don't think that was harassment? What happened to me?
No, it was definitely harassment. But can you tell me any other stories of that happening to you in your life?
That wasn't enough? Even if it happens one time.
Welcome to life as a woman.
Right, I'm
like,
sure it happens
is
to women.
Constant.
No,
all day,
but I'm saying you're
every
misunderstanding
day.
me. I'm not saying the Me Too movement isn't a real thing, and I think every woman who is assaulted or harassed should come forward, and I encourage it 100%.
My next question is, how did that make you feel?
I thought of it more as a joke until she actually pulled the vehicle over.
And then how'd you feel?
I felt kind of like.
Did you get sweaty? Did your pulse get a little racy? Did you feel uncomfortable?
No, I just thought it was awkward. It was awkward because I didn't really know this person. Mm-hmm. I wasn't attracted to her at all. Now, if she, I hate to say it, but I was single at the time. If she was like really attractive, maybe I would have complied. I mean, I know women.
You're going down a road here. I don't think you want to go.
No, but
down
I'm not saying that women, if an attractive man hits on you, should give in to I'm not saying that at all. This is a comedy podcast. I'm joking around. No, but it was awkward. And again, it continued on a couple more times. And then finally it fizzled out and she probably went on to the next person.
She was like Jennifer Aniston in Horrible Bosses, except not hot.
Exactly. So, no, but like I said, I am totally for, but I think analyzing a song, which we're gonna break down, it really takes away from what the Me Too movement is. And it waters down the message. And that's all. That's how I feel about it.
Oh, I disagree.
Okay, that's good. That's what this is all about. So let's talk about the song. We're going to break the song down into simple English, so all those offended and not offended can make their own judgments about the song. All right, so Jen's going to start.
Wait.
In the orange.
Okay. I really can't stay.
But baby, it's cold outside.
I've got to go away.
But baby, it's cold outside. So here's a man who knows the lady he likes has to leave, and he's doing his damnedest to get her to stay for a few more minutes or an hour or even the night. They both know that in 1944 it wasn't appropriate for an unmarried lady to stay the night at her man's house, and they are dragging out the end as the night as long as they can. Now, I've been in this situation too, where I happened to have my own apartment at a young age. I was 21 years old, and I had girlfriends that were my age, or 19, 20, and they lived with their parents. And I would try to get them to stay longer or stay over. And a lot of them live with their parents. Obviously, weren't going to stay over. I'm going to stay at my boyfriend's house. But I wasn't trying to be creepy or rape them. I wanted to spend more time with them, whether it was going to be intimate or not. I just wanted their company.
Okay.
So that's my perspective so far. So here we go.
My mother will start to worry.
But beautiful, what's your hurry?
My father will be pacing the floor.
Listen to that fireplace
It's
roar.
really hard not to just break out in song, isn't it? Don't you just want to start singing this?
So I wrote that the woman in the song is playing coy. She's flirting. She doesn't really want to leave, and she makes that obvious. The way the song is written, with call and response interchanging vocals that play off one another, it's meant to express two people that want the same thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, I disagree.
All right, you disagree so far. Okay. What do we got next?
So, really, I'd better scurry.
Beautiful, please don't hurry.
Well, maybe just a half a drink more.
Put some records on while I pour. Okay, so she's asking him for the drink. He didn't offer her one.
She didn't ask for the roofie, though.
That was no roofie. So the family's expecting her home, and she's pushing just how long she could stay before they're going to get upset back at home.
The neighbors might think.
Baby, it's bad out there.
Say, what's in this drink?
No cabs to be had out there. Now let's talk about that before we go on. That's the controversial line that people are talking about. What's in this drink? Now, she might have sipped it. It might have been too strong, the drink. It might have been something she's unfamiliar with. I've poured drinks for friends at parties, my wife, and they've said the same. What the hell did you put in this thing? What is that? Like a concoction that they've never tasted before. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like a drug or a, exotic or something trying to knock the woman out. But we'll continue. What are you thinking so far? What do you think of the drink line?
I
want
think
the woman
that
stand.
when you look at the totality of the circumstances, and as you said yourself, it's a guy who's trying to get this girl to stay longer with him. I think you could say that means any number of things, but it definitely means that something with that drink is not what she was expecting. Maybe not drugs, but it was stronger than it. He's given her a stronger drink, or
Okay. All right. So now you're up to. I wish
I wish I knew how
your eyes are like starlight now.
to break this spell.
I'll take your hat. Your hair looks swell. So, all right. So we got. Actually, that's repeated twice. So you ought to say.
I ought to say no,
You
sir.
ought to, but okay. Mind if I move in closer? Now, a guy who's going to rape, is he going to ask? Do you mind?
Well,
See, you're kibitzing over the line from rape. This is definitely she's trying to say no, and he keeps pressuring.
But don't you
her.
think she's saying no because of the social stigma, not because she doesn't like she wants to stay, but she's worried about what everybody's going to think about her?
No, I think she's worried about what he's going to think about her, and she wants him to like her and doesn't want to upset him. So
Could
she's
be.
staying because he's pressuring her to stay.
Okay.
I really can't stay.
Oh, baby, don't hold out.
As we're talking about this, it's getting
funny.
a little weird.
Yeah.
But baby, it's cold outside.
Now, this set of lyrics is important. The spell she's talking about is attraction. She knows she's supposed to be prim and proper and say, no, no, sir. And she also knows what she's going to do. Say that I tried. Neither of them want to go anywhere, and she's convincing herself it will be easier to ask for forgiveness later. Remember, this song, folks, was written in 1944 at a time when women weren't as free as they are now to do what they want. She's talking about a risk to stay as late as she is. Okay, here's the most critical role.
I simply must go.
But baby, it's cold outside.
The answer is no.
But baby, it's cold outside.
Your welcome has been
How lucky that you dropped in.
so nice and warm.
Look out the window at this dawn.
Is it dawn? I always thought it was storm.
Is it dawn? My sister will be suspicious.
God, your lips look delicious.
My brother will be there at the door.
Waves upon the tropical shore.
My maiden aunt's mind is vicious.
Gosh, your lips are delicious.
Maybe just a cigarette more.
See, now you're
Now
starting to come
that's
around.
the pissy off part right there. Like, we should be mad that we're glamorizing smoking.
Right. Now, the argument she gives for why she needs to go is her sister, her brother, her vicious maiden aunt are not meant for the guy. They're meant for the family. She's trying to convince herself that all the logical reasons she should go, and he's reminding her of all the illogical reasons to stay, which is why she follows up with the cigarette being another little excuse to stay longer.
The cigarette is the buffer that allows her to stay but not give him the okay to pressure her for sex.
Okay.
She's got a lit cigarette in her hand. He's going to have to stand back a couple of feet.
Come on. You're okay. All right, here we go.
Oh, I've got to get home.
But baby, you'll freeze out there.
Say, lend me a coat.
It's up to your knees out
Well,
there.
now you know she's dumb because she went out in the weather and she didn't even have her own coat. You've really been grand.
See, would you say you've really been grand to somebody if they were trying to do something to you, if you felt awkward?
Yes, if you're trying to politely get away.
I don't know about that. Okay, I thrill
I mean,
when you touch
obviously
my...
she likes this guy. She
Right.
doesn't think he's a rapist. She wants to see him again.
Right.
I mean, if this was Joe Schmo at Publix, I'd be, get your fucking hands off me.
I'm going now.
But we'll get to in a little bit
Okay.
why this has happened before. I thrill when you touch my hand.
But don't you see?
How can you do this thing to me?
There's bound to be talk tomorrow.
Think of my lifelong sorrow.
At least there will be plenty implied.
If you got pneumonia and died. Now, he's being ridiculous. He's being outrageous. He's the devil on a shoulder, oozing drama in a lighthearted attempt to keep her there.
It's not lighthearted, though, because if she stays, he's going to try to nail her.
Yeah, but
Right?
doesn't mean she wouldn't be a willing participant in that. Doesn't
She's
mean he's going to...
obviously not a willing participant.
But she's arguing about what everybody else is going to think about. That's what her main concern
You
is.
don't know what it's like to be a woman.
I don't. That's why we're talking about it.
The next day you go to the office and everybody's slapping your hands and going, all right, Charlie, you hit it, didn't you? And everyone's going, pss, 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 pss. Look at that Jen. She stayed over at Charlie's. You know?
So, Baby It's Cold Outside has an ambiguous ending. It's not clear if she stays or not, and it doesn't matter. She was always free to walk out the door. We're left to our imagination on whether she decided to break the rules. I think songs can't be dissected by simply reading the lyrics. Emotion, tone, and intonation are a few of the critically important aspects of a song that reveal the story and the words that it's trying to tell. It was written by a man for him and his wife to sing at parties. The basic foundation of this song is love. It's romantic. Mm-hmm. So let me say.
Here's my thing about music. I think the best music, the best songs are the songs that people across a wide range of society can listen to and it can mean something to them.
And this has until recently.
Right.
Yeah.
So obviously this song means one way to you and it means another thing to me.
Right.
It's a catchy song. It's catchy lyrics. It's endured for all these years. So it's a good song, obviously.
Right,
Everybody's enjoyed it. However, with some people's experience, they listen to this song and they think this dude's put a roofie in
But
her
I've
drink.
also had it in the other way around. Like I mentioned, like when my very early days of moving out on my own and having an apartment and dating ladies and long-term relationships too that lived at home and they couldn't stay over or they couldn't stay late. I've also been in situations where I dated women who had their own place, and I would go over there, and they would come up try to get me to stay longer or stay over, and maybe I had to go to work the next day. But I didn't feel like they were like, it was like not back and forth. We were singing to each other like in the song, but they would come on, have another glass of wine. They would try to get me to stay longer. Or, come on, just stay over. You can go to work in the morning from here. And I didn't take it as they were trying to put in pressure. I know it's a different perspective.
We would go down that whole route of you being a man allows you to be privileged to not feel uncomfortable in that situation. But, you know, my bottom line with all of this is, and I'm like this with everything, if you don't like it, don't fucking listen to it. Change the channel. There's no reason to ban it. Like you said, if my child hears this and says something to me about it, I will tell her.
Right.
Look, if you don't want to stay with a guy, it doesn't
Absolutely.
matter how hard he's begging. You turn around and walk out.
I
don't
totally
feel
agree with
bad
that.
about it
I'm not disputing that
I
at
know
all.
you're not. I'm just saying.
But the last line of the song here, which we didn't say,
Where is
she
it?
said, "I really can't stay," and then he said, "Get over that old out." So obviously they've been through this before, where he's tried to have her stay.
Or he's been through this with 35 other women.
No, but he's saying the
past
old
2
out
weeks.
to her. In other words,
maybe it's society's old out.
It could be, but I think
Maybe this guy is a serial roofiest.
Yeah, 1949.
Well, hey, rape ain't a new thing, honey.
So people are complaining that this is on the radio and want it banned, but I did a little bit. Now, up until about 2 years ago, I was DJing and I was up on the latest music. I have to admit, the last 2 years, I've lost track of what's popular. So I looked on the Billboard Hot 100 and I narrowed it down to the top 20 this week. And now this song, I could have chosen 8 out of the top 10. This is a number 9 song this week. It peaked at number 2, and it's been on the charts for 6 weeks. This is the words in a top 10 Billboard song that's played on the radio today. She loves bitches undercover in the sheets. I'm an ass and titties lover. Guess we were made for each other. And now we're out in these streets. Can you do it? Can you pop it for me? Fuck her on a yacht, dive in a pool. She's an addict for the lifestyle. Big Daddy, have you ever felt Chanel fabrics? Now, this is in the top 10. This is by Kodak Black featuring Travis Scott and Offset. Number 9 in the country right now. Peaked at number 2.
Who are these people?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. This is being played all over the radio right now, and people are grinding and shaking their ass in the clubs, women and men. That's okay. But trying to get a woman to have a drink on a Christmas night is bad, and being banned off the radio. I have a hard time reconciling this.
Remember the day? Do you remember the exact time and hour when we all got upset because we saw Dennis Franz's butt on NYPD Blue?
I didn't get upset. I think this country's too uptight when it comes to sex.
Definitely.
When it comes to violence, we can see people getting killed in movies and mass shootings. We can tolerate mass shooting after mass shooting, violence all over the movies. But if you see a breast or a peen or something in a movie, it's
Everybody freaks out.
I don't get it.
Well, that's like I was reading, my child likes Berenstain Bears, and there's a story about a bone thief at a museum. And there's a whole thing in there about maybe they did it with an axe or a knife or a rope, and like it's got all these characters with all these weapons, and I'm thinking, oh, there's a mom out there with her panties all in a wad over this one.
You know, like we always say, you can't drive out of your house without running into a mutant. You really can't do anything nowadays without someone being offended. Even on this podcast, I have to. Sometimes when I'm, I don't think people realize how much planning it goes into doing a podcast and coming up with a topic and trying to keep people listening. And there's a lot of times I want to tell a story about something that happened, and I have to say, how are people going to react? There's going to be a small segment of the listeners that are going to be upset. 90% are going to laugh, and 10% are going to be, I can't believe he said that. So I don't know how comedians stay as in business anymore. I don't know how writers, because you can always piss somebody off because people are looking to be outraged by something.
Well, I think that, but even the majority of that, if you took that 10% of people that were upset, what percentage of that 10% actually say something or flip out? Like, I might hear something that pisses me off, and I'll go, oh, that pisses me off.
Right.
And I keep right on with my life. I don't write a letter. I don't post it on Facebook. I don't try to get somebody fired, because... opinions are like assholes.
And going back to the rap music, I don't want people to think that I am anything against hip-hop or rap music. I've loved it all my life. I've listened to it.
I need to look at that.
Yeah, I'm not making it up.
Yeah, I know you're not making it up, but that doesn't even sound like a good song
No,
to
it's
me.
not. Well, that's why I grew up on the Sugar Hill Gang and Run DMC and Biggie and Tupac. But Biggie and Tupac weren't clean either. They were very misogynistic in their lyrics. But we didn't overanalyze it. We listened to it. We had a good time. And now it's like the problem I have is the hypocrisy where one genre of music can get away with it, and then every other genre of music, you got to clean up your act. It's not acceptable.
Do you think that this genre gets away with it because
they
talk so fast and you can't understand what they're
really saying? No, but if you look at their videos, all it is breast bouncing and asses shaking and cars bouncing and jewelry and money thrown in the air. It's all the same.
Yeah. But my husband just went to that cowboy bar, over by the new baseball stadium, and they have a mechanical bull there.
Oh, yeah.
And I said,
Urban cowboy.
I said, how is that? Did you get on it? And he goes, it wasn't for the dudes. They only wanted the girls up there.
So they're like
they could all stand around and watch their
ride.
bouncing. He's like, every time a guy got up there, they threw him off in 5 seconds.
Sure. Yeah, they just revved it up.
Now, you see what I'm offended about this song?
What's that?
That actual stated lyrics, some of them are skirt, and these aren't even words.
No, they're just made up to rhyme.
They don't even put, okay.
Yeah, it's crap.
We could get into a whole discussion about music these days is crap.
Well, we'll do that after the holidays when you get back. So what I want to talk about now, we'll segue in perfectly, is songs that we all listen to on the radio. Mostly these are classic rock songs or songs from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s that we'll put on the radio right now, sing our hearts out to, in the car, wherever. But if they were released today, they would never make airtime. They would be considered inappropriate and politically incorrect. And the first one is Kung Fu Fighting by Carl Douglas from 1974. He said they were funky Chinamen from funky Chinatown. Now, you can't say Chinaman. I'm saying it now because in context. But you can't say Chinaman. And that's what my grandfather used to say.
Charlie, the Chinaman is not the issue here. You don't know what movie that's from? That's from The Big Lebowski.
Oh, okay. No, I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, you're like, yes, it is. It clearly is. The Chinaman is the issue.
Well, before the term, what we use now, Asian, it used to be Oriental. I remember my grandfather saying Oriental. Yeah. And then before that, it was my grandfather actually used to say Chinaman because this was in the early 70s when I was a kid, and I can remember that. And so you can't say that now. No. I'm saying it now on the podcast because I'm reading it. What about the Rolling Stones? We like Brown Sugar, that song, right?
I don't think it's some of these songs on this list. It's crazy. I never knew that these were the
Brown
lyrics.
Sugar, Gold Coast slave ship bound for cotton fields, sold in the market down in New Orleans. Scarred old slaver knows he's doing all right. Hear him whip the women just around
midnight. Oh my God! I never realized those were the lyrics.
And he doesn't even sing it like that on stage anymore. He changes up the words, Mick Jagger, because even he knows that's pretty inappropriate.
That's pretty bad.
And then we got...
But it's such a catchy song.
Another one that I even knew as a kid, it sounded weird. Under My Thumb from Rolling Stones also. Under my thumb is a squirming dog who just had her day. Under my thumb, a girl who just changed her ways. It's down on me. Oh, yes, it is. The way she does just what she's told down to me. The change has come. She's under my thumb. Now, that's pretty, misogynistic, but it's also the beginning of the song. It's basically a girl that used to control him, and now he's turned the tables on her. So that's why he's kind of like insulting her and putting her down like that.
That's the worst feeling, isn't it? When you're in control of somebody and suddenly flip the tables.
Yeah.
You're under their thumb.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the worst. You're like, damn it.
Now, this song, are you a Tim McGraw fan? I don't know this song.
I like this. I do like, I've heard
You want to read that one?
You want me to sing it?
Yeah. Tell them what it is.
You can find me in it's Indian Outlaw by Tim McGraw. You can find me in my wigwam. I'll be beating on my tom-tom. Pull out the pipe and smoke you some. Hey, and pass it around.
I had never heard that song in my life.
I'm an Indian outlaw. Half Cherokee and Choctaw. My baby, she's a Chippewa.
Yeah, see,
She's
now
a hell
he's
of a
not
gal.
now he's not Native American, so that would not be appropriate nowadays.
Well,
to sing
I
that.
gotta be honest with you. I thought that Indian was not politically
No,
correct.
it's not. It's Native
It
American.
is, though. No, it's not.
Oh, you can?
They have the Bureau of Indian Affairs.
Okay.
Like, because we deal with this all the time in my line of work. Bureau of Indian Affairs. You refer to them as tribes, like they're
Right.
It's the federal. I thought all of that was incorrect. I thought you called them nations, but no, there are tribes
Okay.
and they are Indians.
Now, this song I love, and there's two versions of it. They cut out these lines.
Too.
I think on the album, and they still play this version on Classic Rewind on Sirius XM. Money for Nothing, Dire Straits. See the little faggot with the earring and the mink coat? Yeah, buddy, that's his own hair. That little faggot got his own jet airplane. That little faggot, he's a millionaire.
What's the cleaned up version of that?
They just cut that whole thing out.
Oh.
So, and if anybody knows anything about Money for Nothing, it was written, Mark Knopfler, the lead singer of Dire Straits, he was buying appliances. He was at an appliance store. All the lyrics to that song were the guys that worked in the back of the appliance store that were complaining that they had to install microwave ovens, move these refrigerators, and MTV was on the TVs, and they would say, look at that guy on MTV, I should have learned to play the guitar. So it was basically just quoted from what he heard when he was at a store.
See, this is another one of those examples that when I got older and I heard these lyrics, I was like, wow. But in 1985, I was 10. I didn't know what a faggot was,
No.
first of all. And second, I couldn't understand what he was saying.
Right, and I think back then there were people who were homophobic and used that word in a homophobic way, but we as kids used to call each other that as an insult. It wasn't meant to call someone homosexual or put down homosexuals.
But that's because we didn't know. We heard
know,
other
right.
people saying it.
Nowadays,
we didn't know why
right.
they were using it.
You want to do the next one from Aerosmith?
Yeah, I don't know if this is offensive to me. Dude looks like a lady. Love put me wise to her love in disguise. She had the body of a Venus, Lord, imagine my surprise.
Yeah, so when he basically took the clothes off, it was a man's
that's like
part.
Lola.
Yeah.
She walked like a woman and talked like a man.
But I think transgender would be offended by that nowadays. Dude
I don't
looks
think
like
that's
a lady.
I don't think that I don't think that's offensive.
Well,
At all.
To
Even
us.
for not even for a trans person. I mean, he's like, she was hot, I took off her clothes, and she was a man.
Right.
I'm not saying she's an ugly man, or I
Right.
ran, or I screamed. It was, yeah.
Then there's a song.
We don't know what Steven Tyler does with that penis.
We don't know.
We do not know.
From 1964, an Elvis Presley song
Yeah, this is
called
bizarre.
Kissing Cousins. Well, I've got a gal. She's as cute as she can be. She's a distant cousin, but she's not too distant with me. So it's basically saying, isn't this the state song for Alabama? No, I'm just sorry, my Alabama listeners.
Oh my
You wanna-
God! I don't know if I've ever even heard that song.
Want to
I'm gonna have
do
look
the
for
Elton
it now.
John one?
Yeah.
The next one? You know the Island Girl song.
Yeah, Island Girl, what you wantin' with the white man's world. Island Girl, black boy want you in his island world.
And that was a big hit, Island Girl from 1975, Elton John. See, that wouldn't fly.
Yeah, that's.
He's
a little
basically
bit-
telling this girl, what do you want? Like, in other words, like the white man's world is like a step up for her. What are you doing in my world?
But you know what offends me most about this is that he's pretending to be straight.
Yeah, that's true, too. Now, the next one, I actually love this song. It's on Yacht Rock Radio all the time. It came out in 1980 and was a minor hit. When it re-released in 89, was a huge hit. It's called Into the Night by Benny Mardones. She's just 16 years old. Leave her alone, they say. Separated by fools who don't know what love is yet. But I want you to know, if I could fly, I'd pick you up, I'd take you into the night, and show you a love like you've never seen. Now, this is a man who, in the video, is clearly in his 30s, and he's talking about, a 16-year-old girl that people don't know who judge him, don't know what love is, that he has true love with this 16-year-old. Wouldn't fly today.
Did that dude from Alabama write this? That senator guy?
And then there's another one similar, a big hit from 1968.
Yeah, that's a good song.
Gary Puckett and the Union Gap. Young girl, get out of my mind. My love for you is way out of line. You better run, girl. You're much too young, girl. With all the charms of a woman, you've kept the secret of your youth. You led me to believe you're old enough to give me love, and now it hurts to know the truth. She must have showed him her ID. Beneath your perfume and your makeup, you're just a baby in disguise. And though you know that it's wrong to be alone with me, that come on look is in your eyes.
Dude,
would never happen.
Sung truly by a man who's on the sex offender registry for statutory rape.
All right, so the next one, you want to do that one?
Yeah, you're 16.
You're 16.
Oh,
you're
okay.
beautiful.
I'm still trying to get that into the night. I know that song.
She's just 16 years old. You leave her alone. My singing's horrible, folks. I'm sorry.
I thought that was, I thought that was Hall & Oates for a long
Benny
time.
Mardones.
Yeah, I don't know who Benny Mardones is.
So the next one is
Pervert.
The next one. Ringo Starr made a big hit, but it was also a big hit for Johnny Burnett back in the 60s. But in 73, Ringo was 33 years old when he sang this one.
You come on like a dream, peaches and cream, lips like strawberry wine.
You're 16, you're beautiful, and you're mine.
You're all ribbons and curls. Ooh, what a girl. Eyes that sparkle and shine. You're 16, you're beautiful, and you're mine. You're my baby, you're my pet. We fell in love on the night we met. You touched my hand, my heart went pop. Ooh, when we kissed, I could not stop.
Yeah, that's Ringo. Come on, Ringo. You could have had any woman you want by that point.
Right.
The next one, I always thought this was messed up. It's called In the Summertime by Mungo Jerry.
Is it that the one, In the Summertime?
When the weather... So this guy's not only promoting... he's promoting drunk driving and what he wants to do to this girl. Have a drink, have a drive. Go out and see what you can find. If her daddy's rich... Take her out for a meal. If her daddy's poor, just do what you feel.
Oh, Jesus.
That could be one of the worst lines ever in a song.
Horrible.
And then we all love the Beatles, right, folks? But there's two songs about the Beatles.
To me too.
Run for Your Life is disturbing. 1965. I'd rather see you dead, little girl, than to be with another man.
How does that song go? Do I know that song?
We could play it later.
I mean, just the title of it, when you read that line, it's horrifying.
And they also had a song 2 years later in 67 called Getting Better. I used to be cruel to my woman. I beat her and kept her apart from the things she loved. Man, I was mean, but I'm changing my scene, and I'm doing the best that I can.
Well, John Lennon, after he died, people were like, he was a total asshole. Like, he beat
his first wife.
And I heard he beat Yoko and his kids.
No, I didn't hear that about Yoko. I heard he had problems with his first wife.
Who was his first wife?
Cynthia, I believe her name was.
Just Cynthia?
Yeah, Cynthia Lennon.
Cynthia Ono?
So next one. I remember this as a kid in the car.
They got little short people. No business. They got little hands, little eyes. They walk around telling great big lies. They got little noses and tiny little teeth. They wear platform shoes on their nasty little feet.
That was Short People by Randy
offensive.
Newman in 1977. Mm-hmm. China Girl. We all love David Bowie. My little China Girl, you shouldn't mess with me. I'll ruin everything you are. I'll give you television. I'll give you eyes of blue. I'll give you a man who wants to rule the world.
I thought China Girl was a reference to heroin.
No. You never see the video?
I wasn't allowed to watch MTV,
Oh, that's
remember?
right. That's right.
Mm-mm.
Come on. We all know Hot for Teacher.
We skip Fat Bottom Girls, which is funny because every time I hear that, I'm like, we do make the rock and roll go round.
Yeah, I mean, would that fly today? But I knew
so.
love before I left my nursery, left alone with big fat Fanny. She was such a naughty nanny. Heat, big woman. You made a bad boy out of me. Yeah. You think that would fly today on mainstream rock?
This is a problem on so many levels. Like, first of all, he was gay. Secondly,
well, he was bisexual, Freddie.
Heat, big woman seems like making fun of Native American people.
Right, and he was in a nursery when this woman made a man out of him.
Yeah, that's like
she like molested him or something.
But what was that movie with Ben Stiller where he has sex? Meet the Fockers.
Oh, Meet the Fockers, right?
Yeah, that was recent.
Hot for Teacher. Got it bad, got it bad, got it bad. I'm hot for teacher. I think of all the education that I missed, but then my homework was never quite like this. Van Halen, 1984, promoting sex with your teacher, which is always in the news and not cool.
Every boy's dream.
What about the one from the Police? Don't stand so close to me.
Oh,
you remember that one?
Yeah, but that's all based on the book.
The book,
Lolita.
Lolita, yeah. And Cradle of Love, we loved that video and song in 1990. It burned like a ball of fire when the rebel took a little child bride to tease, yeah, so go easy, yeah. That's pretty bad. Mm-hmm. And there's also the one from The Police that we forgot. Every Breath You Take is considered a love song. That's the biggest stalkerist song you've ever heard in your life, right?
Yeah, it is very stalky. Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of my dog Bernie, who stalks me night and day. Every snack I make, every meal I bake.
Every pee you take.
And then Hot Legs by Rod Stewart. I don't know if that would fly today. Hot Legs, Bring Your Mother Too. 17 years old, he's trudging 64. You got legs up to your neck, you're making me a physical wreck.
And that's kind of prescient, isn't it? Isn't he married to like a 12-year-old now?
Yeah.
Or no, I'm thinking of Mick Jagger.
Yeah, he was married to a woman much younger than him. I don't know if they might still be married. I'm not sure. And then my guy, Bruce Springsteen, he wrote this song and then he gave it to the Pointer Sisters. But this song's called Fire. I'm pulling you close. You just say no. You say you don't like it, but I know you're a liar. Because when we kissed, ooh, fire. Yeah. They kind of made it less rapey, the Pointer Sisters, when they did it. Yes, they did. But, hey, even Bruce was in on the creepy shit.
You know the one we used to sing all the time that we turned into it? We probably did it on our own, but Ring of Fire by Johnny. Mm-hmm. That's not quite rapey, but I went down, down, down into a burning ring of fire.
Yeah. So, folks, we hope we didn't offend you too much by reading. We basically said everybody's too sensitive. Then we jammed these song lyrics down your throat. But
I'm going to be riding home and like listening to all these songs now and trying to.
Well, because a lot of times you get caught up in the melody and you know the song, but you're making up your own words. Like that song, I Really Love to See You Tonight by England Dan and John Ford Coley. I'm not talking about moving in, and I don't want to change. I always thought he said, I'm not talking about the linens.
Me too.
For years.
And he says, I'm
not talking about moving in. But it's the misheard stuff or stuff you just don't even care what the words are. You love the song, and like I think we touched on some of that today, where don't get offended. Sing along. If it's something that really offends you, again, change the station, but don't tell everybody they can't listen to it.
I mean, it's like I can't tell you how many times I'm in the car with my daughter and I am singing one of my favorites. Like Biggie Smalls is a big one. Right. I start singing it at the top of my lungs and I'm like, I got your daughter tied up in a Brooklyn basement. And then, I'm like, oh, I really shouldn't be singing this out loud around my child.
You're looking in the rearview mirror. Yeah, not you, honey. Not you.
You don't know what I'm talking about.
So we hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope that Jen will probably be joining us again after the new year, right?
If I'm invited back.
Of course you're invited back.
If I don't end up in a shallow grave in Costa Rica.
Yeah, but don't go to any Airbnbs. It's just, we live in a society now where we're told, don't go in strangers' houses. We were taught, ingrained in us, don't go in strangers' cars. Now we're summoning people with apps and getting in strangers' cars. You're like looking at the guy, are you Joe? Yeah, all right, hop in. We're going and staying in strangers' houses now. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's just all bizarre.
Everything we were taught now we're doing the opposite of.
Yeah, and we wonder why it's not working out.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, folks, that's going to wrap it up for this. We'll call it the seasonal sensitivity issue episode. We hope you enjoyed it. Jen, thank you for coming in on this. Maybe it's cold outside on this cold day.
The answer is no.
See, folks. So, wherever you're listening, I hope you're warm, and I hope that it's not too cold. I hope the weather outside is delightful and not frightful wherever you are, folks. And we'll have 2 more shows coming to you before Christmas. We have one on, what's today? The 4th. So we have the 11th and the 18th, and then we'll be taking a 2-week break for Christmas and New Year's and back at you on January 8th. So thank you so much for joining us. And as I always say, folks, and this episode definitely exemplified it, beware. It's a shit show out there. Thanks so much for joining us. This has been A Bunch of Malarkey. Take care, everybody.